Hello everyone. It's definitely been a while since I've made a video, and it's actually been like a long while. I believe months, and I got rid of all my old videos because it's just because I wanted a new start. Anyways, it's nice to see you all again. And today I am making a video about Warframe. Yes, this game I'm playing right now. Now, I just want to say this. Uh, Warframe is a looter shooter game, so like it definitely is probably meant for like an audience, like if you're really heavily into grinding stuff and like getting rewards and stuff like that. Though I will admit, after like a long while, like from like I'd probably say like 600 hours to like 1,000 hours plus, you might start getting a bit bored of it. But this video will mainly just be talking about it and maybe be like also like a short little guide with it as well. Anyways, Warframe is a game where you play as like a frame, and your frame has unique abilities to you, and you pretty much can do different things with your frames. Like certain frames, they are DPS, so they're mainly focused on damage. Some are AoE, so they do area effect abilities, and others are like support frames. Now my Excalibur Umbra is a DPS frame, and I will talk about abilities in a second, because there is a thing you can do with abilities called Helmith, and it's like where you could transfer different Warframe's ability to another one. But that's like more later game, and I mainly kind of want to focus on early at the moment. So, oh my god. So with frames, Excalibur Umbra is a DPS frame, and pretty much like you'll just pretty much do a lot of damage with him. He has like some CC with his radial howl, and he's just mainly meant for DPS, just straight DPS. As we can see, his main ability, like his like ultimate ability, Exalted Blade, does a lot of damage because it's actually just a usable weapon. Now, I just want to say this, there's a lot of things that factor into these abilities. For example, we have these stats: duration, efficiency, range, and strength. These really heavily affect your certain frames. For example, efficiency really affects like how long you can have Exalted Blade out. And duration really affects how long something like Radial Howl would last. Now, I just want to let you know that that certain mods, actually, oh my god, why am I speaking about this? Mods are used for buffing up your warframes pretty much, and you really want to get certain mods for certain frames, because like certain mods will work better on other frames than, let's say, with like a frame like let's go to the codex, because there's a lot of frames to go through that easily have different requirements. For example, Excalibur is a DPS frame, so you kind of want to invest in efficiency and like ability strength. But when it comes to a frame like, let's say, what would be a good one to use? Revenant, you probably want to go for the same thing, except you probably want to invest in range, because some of his abilities are definitely require some range in order to do a lot more damage. For example, like his ultimate definitely would require some range to like extend it even further than what it usually goes. Now, Warframe at the moment has a lot of systems, and honestly it'd be really hard to explain to a newer player all the systems there is, but let's just focus on the basics for now. We have our frame, our primaries, and our secondaries, and melee. Of course, we have our melee right here. I just want to say this: at the moment, melee is probably gonna be like really good for you for like very early parts of the game. And when you start off, it'll give you two choices to either pick a MK1 bow and a Skana. I'd recommend you go for the Skana, because that does a lot more damage, in my opinion, than the MK1 bow can do. This one. But like the Skana, like you're really gonna hold on to melee for a long time for like early game, because melee does a lot more damage than primaries and secondaries. For primaries and secondaries, just pick whatever you want to pick, like a bow or like the assault rifle they offer you. It's just that primaries and secondaries really struggle in early games because you don't really have access to like a good amount of mods. Most of the mods you'll get are like flawed, so they don't really like give you the full benefit unless you have like the unflawed version, which will give you like the full benefit of the mod. But you'll definitely be holding on to melee's very early game. Like, these things are extremely strong. Recently they got nerfed. They got like an attack speed nerf, not like to all melees, just mainly to the mods, so you can't stack them anymore. Except there is one you can stack, but though I don't know if that's really good. But yeah, there was like a nerf, but they're still insanely powerful though. Melees are still ridiculously strong. It didn't really affect them that much, to be honest. I think people kind of did overblow like the nerf a bit, now that I think about it. It's not really that bad. Like, the main update that recently happened was supposed to mainly buff primaries and secondaries. And primaries and secondaries have recently got a lot more stronger. And they are getting, it kind of closes the gap actually like a bit between melees and primaries and like secondaries and melee, because now they actually can deal like a crap ton of damage now, and some of the useless mods recently got buffed. Like this one right here used to be 48% and then like minus 38% fire rate, and now they buffed it up to 200% crit chance and minus 20% fire rate. So some useless mods for primaries and secondaries got heavily buffed, so you definitely would want to use those. But those are corrupted mods, and you don't get them kind of like until a bit later in the game. But let's just talk about our star chart real quick. Now, of course, you'll start on Earth, and this is pretty much your starting planet right here. Now, your starting planet, of course, is just really low level, but later on in the game, you definitely can move to other star nodes, but there are certain requirements you really need to do. For example, this one, and you get rewards for completing these requirements as well. As we can see, we get a Furious Blueprint over like some mods and like Taxon. By the way, Sentinels are really going to be helpful. I'll go into that in a bit. But these junctions require certain things you need to do before you can even move on to the next planet. Now, I just want to let you know each planet does have a boss, but the one for Earth isn't available until later in the game. And also, when it comes to these junctions as well, there are certain requirements for you, like to build like a weapon. For example, there is one, I believe it's over here, I think it's on Pluto, that requires you to build a mastery rank weapon. Yeah, this one right here, mastery rank 5. I just want to let you know, if you're able to build a mastery rank 5, like let's say you're around here and you're mastery rank 5 and you build a weapon, it'll still count towards that junction progress. So by the time you reach Pluto, you'll already have that objective done and you'd only need to do the other ones. Now, each planet does have a boss, and I will do like a boss fight real quick just to show as an example. Now, I just want to let you know that the early bosses kind of are a bit challenging, so I'd probably definitely recommend playing online instead of just doing it solo. Which, by the way, I'd actually heavily recommend playing online than doing it solo, because online you do get certain benefits. For example, there's 10-0 affinity, which if you play with like 3 other players, it will boost the amount of XP you'll be able to get for your weapons and warframes. So if you play with people online, you'll be able to get more XP pretty much. That's like the benefit on playing with online. Now, of course, I'm going to go through this easily because my character, I just have extremely OP stuff at this point. So if we just did this, uh, I forgot. How did this bite work? Oh wait, yeah, it worked like this. Okay, I'm probably gonna skip this part so you guys don't get bored. Okay, so I finally got done with the mission, and as we can see, we killed the boss, of course, but we also got these rewards right here. Now, I just want to let you know, bosses can drop parts for making new frames, and they also can drop like exclusive weapon blueprints that are only exclusive to them. Now, for example, like the Stropher right here is definitely one of the best like gun blades at the moment. This one has some really good stats and is extremely strong for a gun blade. Like, holy crap, this thing is extremely strong. But we also got parts for a frame named Rhino. Now, Rhino is actually probably one of the best frames in terms of early game and overall, just actually overall throughout the entire game. Rhino is definitely one of the strongest frames in Warframe, in my opinion. Like, he has a crap ton of survivability. His iron skin pretty much makes you invincible to all damage. Roar just buffs your damage up a lot, and then his stomp is just good crowd control overall. Rhino, it definitely is like a really strong offensive tank that you definitely really want to like get someone to tax you, maybe to get like some of the materials so you can just build them, because he's a really good early game frame to have as well. Actually, I forgot to talk about, now thinking about it, when you start the game, you actually get 3 choices, which is Excalibur, Mag, and another one named Volt, which right here. Now, when it comes to these 3, I'd recommend you do not pick Mag at all, because she's good, but she requires like a really good, decent build, and you don't really get most of the mods for her until later games, so she's not really worth the pick for like a starter frame. She's more of like an advanced frame that you want to like get later on in the game. The 2 frames you do want to get though are Excalibur and Volt. These 2 are definitely way better choices. If you ask me personally, I probably would go for Excalibur, but that's because I have some bias because I use Umbra. But here's the thing, you can pick Volt instead, because like you do get a better Excalibur later on in the game, which is Umbra right here, this one. And he's way better than just the normal Excalibur, and he has his own gimmick. And you can always farm Excalibur later if you want to. If you just want to like have like a good fast frame, because this guy's extremely fast and he does a lot of damage. He has some really good skills. I'd recommend picking Volt if you really want to go and like go super fast and have like really good DPS and actually have good like defensive coverage as well with Electric Shield. I'd heavily recommend picking Volt if you're more that type of playstyle, but if you're really like pure DPS, I'd recommend Excalibur the most. He's like really simple in my opinion. Like, he's really simple to use. Same with Volt. Volt kinda actually does require a build, but he still is good very early game, so these 2 are pretty much the best choices. It's just Mag isn't really that good because she definitely gets a lot of her power late game once you have a lot more mods. Now, speaking of mods, I should probably go more into depth of them. Mods are things that you use to attach to weapons, frames, you know, pretty much all those, to make them stronger. Now, like, for example, we have a lot of mods right here. And as we can see, this mod, Augur Massage, or Message, gives you 24% ability duration. So that means your abilities can last longer. But we also have like Augur Secrets, which increases ability strength by 24%. Now, of course, there are mods like these that give the same thing, but there are also like extremely interesting type of mods known as corrupted mods. These are the mods that will give you an insane amount of one thing, but it also takes away from a decent amount from another. Like for example, overextended takes away 60% of your ability strength for like 90% ability range. So like you can like your abilities can go really really far. Or like transient fortitude. Now here's the thing though, corrupted mods are definitely mods that you really want to get a good build first before you even try tampering with your build and try to put something in here, or like try to put like a corrupted mod on your weapon or whatever build you have, because these mods definitely will like take away some, and sometimes it might take away an important stat on your frame that it might make it not worth using. Sometimes corrupted mods are worth using, but sometimes they aren't worth using on like whatever build you're trying to run. They're good, but just remember they have consequences as well. Now there are also a different type of mods known as augments. Now augments, they're interesting because they change an ability on your frame, or they change something on your weapon. And sometimes these augments are extremely, extremely good. For example, on my frame, I have chromatic blades, which depending on the color of my warframe, like the energy color, it gives that status chance. And I just want to let you know there's multiple statuses in the game. There's fire, electric, cold, toxin, corrosive, magnetic, radiation, and viral. And there's also slash, impact, and puncture. Now here's the thing, these only give like the single status element, so it only gives like the fire, electric, not magnetic, fire, electric, toxin, and cold. But you can make new type of statuses like corrosive. Now corrosive are like the dual type statuses are interesting because they require a combination. Like for example, corrosive requires you to mix electric and then toxic damage. It requires you to mix these two together. And same with radiation and viral. Radiation requires you to make fire like in electric, and then like cold and toxin for viral. Now magnetic is just electric and then cold. That's how you make it. But pretty much you can make these unique status types, and you kind of want to make them for certain enemies, because like certain enemies like the Grenier for example have a lot of armor, and corrosive does a crap ton of damage to them. And their clone flesh is also weak against viral, so viral also does a lot of damage to them. It's just some of the builds are kind of situational. Like for example, I have this build right here, the radiation and viral. This one's definitely more situational in my opinion. This one would only be good for like corpus and like corrupted, I would say, for sure. I definitely say these two would be the this one's definitely situational for certain enemies, but this would only be good for like corpus and corrupted, maybe some Grenier. And this one, the fire and heat one, this one right here, this one mainly is good against Grenier. You can use it against corpus, though it might do less damage because corpus have much different, which I'll probably get into that in a bit, but you understand what I mean. But as we can see, we have mods on here that impact our build heavily. Now I did say melee did get nerfed recently, but it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. It really isn't. Its melee is still ridiculously strong compared to primaries and secondaries. Like these things are really still king pretty much. Though I will admit, primaries are now getting light shined on them, and they are really starting to pick up with their power. For example, there are some unique mods like Galvanized Chamber, which increase your multi-shot, which by the way, I'll just explain this real quick. Multi-shot allows you to fire, like, let's say multiple bullets or multiple arrows depending on what weapon you're using. And multi-shot is really important for a lot of builds. And recently they added this new one called Galvanized Chamber, which really picked up the power of multi-shot. Meaning, like, this bow, like the Kuva Brahma I have right now, can shoot up to like 5 arrows. Now the 5 arrows is kind of rare. It mainly shoots 3 to 4 now, but like it can shoot up to 5 arrows with all the multi-shot I have on it. Now here's the thing though, some mods you're seeing right here are kind of later game. They definitely are. This one you actually can get quite early if you're in a clan. Sadly, I'm not in a clan, so I can't really show you the clan feature, but all I recommend saying is that please join a clan. Just join a clan. Because clans really are going to help you, like, getting, like, new weapons and stuff like that. And you have people to help you out. Also, you can get mods for free from other people. So if you're, like, new to the game and stuff like that, I could genuinely, like, give you some mods. For example, like, I can give you some rare mods that a lot of newer players need, because like a lot of the newer players, when you get into the game, you don't really have most of the mods you might want to need. Like, for example, like some of the main ones you really need are like flow, streamline, and then intensify, which I had all the way over here, and continuity. But you don't really have access to them like very early in the game. So what I'd recommend, if you can, get help from someone to give you some of these rare mods, because these rare mods are really gonna help you out. And I mean really gonna help you out throughout your gameplay. Now, when it comes to the actual grind and progressing through the game, I'd say it varies a lot, like, depending how you play. Like, I kind of sped run through the game, and it took me like a week to complete pretty much all the mainline quests when I first started. I would show some old gameplay footage of me, but I sadly deleted it, and I didn't think I would need it anymore. But now that I think about it, it makes me regret what I did. But pretty much, if you like play this game like super hardcore, not hardcore maybe, but like a lot, and you're really willing to invest the time into it, you can literally complete all the mainline stuff within a week. There are certain limiting factors though, like mastery rank, which you only can do like once per day, which I should probably touch on this real quick. Mastery rank is super important, because this is the stuff you need in order to unlock and craft the newer weapons. Which I will say, like I said before, a lot of the early game weapons, they're not really that worth using, but like later in the game, the higher you raise your mastery rank, the better you unlock the weapons. For example, the Heck, this weapon is extremely strong for early game. It's just mastery rank 4, but it's still extremely powerful. Now, this is a weapon you get later game, for example, like the Cedo, which is mastery rank 8, but this is also an extremely powerful primary weapon. But as you can see, a lot of the later game stuff is like extremely good. Well, most of it is. Some of it kind of sucks ass, not gonna lie. But most of the weapons you get later game are extremely strong. So honestly, I would recommend finding like a guide for like which weapons you might want to pick up, but I'd actually recommend crafting all the weapons to like raise your mastery rank up. It's really important to raise your mastery rank up in order to unlock these newer weapons. Now, before I go back to talking about like progression again, I do actually want to talk more about the weapons now I think about it. And there are a certain group of weapons that mastery rank doesn't matter. You could be mastery rank 4 and you could use like a mastery rank 13 weapon. And that is something like the Optigore Vandal. This thing's mastery rank 14, but you get it from an event that happens quite frequently. And if you're able to do that event, this is a pretty solid option actually. If you're able to get the right build on it, you can really do a lot of damage with this Opticore Vandal. So yeah, but there's also more weapons like that. There's like the Kuva weapons, and there's also a new branch of weapons called Tenet, which these weapons are extremely cool, and they're also extremely strong from all the builds I've seen from them. These weapons can do a freaking crap ton of damage. Also, I just want to point out a lot of these weapons do have variants. For example, we have the Latron, and then we have the Latron Prime. Now, Prime weapons are a lot stronger than their original counterparts, but the problem with them is that they kind of take a while to grind, or you can buy them off someone for like a certain amount of plat, which it's good, but the thing is that some primed weapons are valued more than others. So like you could buy a prime weapon for like 40 plat, but then there's another prime weapon you may want to get, right? But that prime weapon might, like for example like this one, might cost like up to 100 platinum to play, like just to get it and pay for it. So some weapons are a lot more expensive than others. And I'm not even joking. Some of these prime weapons, they can get like up to like 200 plat, so it can get super ridiculous. I'd recommend you wait until they get like unvaulted, so you can get the relics for them and just unlock them that way. But yeah, that's pretty much for like all the weapons. There are variants, like I said. There's the normal, and there are variants like Vandal. What was the other one? Kuva. Prisma weapons actually turn out to be really good. For example, like the Prisma Skana is just a variant of the Skana, but this one's really good. I think this one has similar stats to the Skana Prime, which was a Founders Edition weapon. So this one is still worth using though. This one's definitely like similar in power to that Prime weapon. And yeah, there are also Tenet weapons as well for melee. For Kuva and the Kuva branch of weapons, they don't really have any melee weapons. I think they only have like straight up one, and that's just a hammer. And the Tenet weapons, they got a little bit more level in the melee side. They got 3. But these weapons, I just want to say they are extremely powerful. All these Tenet weapons. All the newer weapons that came out recently, they're all extremely good. But the problem is that they're all later games, so you don't have access to them. Now let's get back to the progression side of things. Like I said, progression depends on how hard you play. If you play casually, it might take a while to complete the entire game. I just want to say though, when you're progressing, you do unlock the Kuva Lich and the sister system, which is called for like unlocking the Tenet weapons. I'd heavily recommend not doing that, not going for a Lich very early in the game, especially if you're only on Saturn. Do it once you complete the entire star chart, because the Lich system can really kick your ass if you're not careful with it. So I'd really recommend doing it once you reach all the later game content, because you may have access, may have a chance to get a stronger weapon, but it's not really worth it when you're still like very early in the game. So I highly recommend do not do that system that early, because it might cause some complications for you in the long run. So yeah, you definitely want to be careful with that. But overall, progression is just debatable on your playtime, your playstyle. If you're casual, it might take longer. If you are willing to invest like a bit more, like let's say you play like for like 4 hours a day maybe, you might be able to get a lot more stuff done than what a casual player might be able to get done. Now for me, since I sped run through the game, I literally played for like, I'd say like 10 hours straight, and was able to like progress through. Actually, on my first day, I was easily able to get all the way to Mars. Actually, no, all the way up to Phobos, I believe. Yeah, but pretty much I was able to get all the way up to Mars when I first started on my first day. On my second day, I definitely did a lot more progress because I was able to do Phobos series and all that stuff. And I think I was able to get all the way up, if I remember correctly. On my second day, I think I was able to get all the way up to Europa or Saturn. But I completely forgot. It's been a while since I did the entire playthrough. All I know is that I completed it, all of it, within a week. And that's because I invested a lot. There are some optional areas, optional, I think that's how you pronounce it, like demos. You don't really need to do demos early if you don't want to. It is nice though if you want to get the corrupted mods. This is the only way to get the corrupted mods. Demos is legit the only way to get corrupted mods, like the ones that I showed you that give you a consequence for using them. Also, I forgot to mention, there's things right here called potatoes, even though it's called organ reactor, we call them potatoes, and forma. These are important for builds actually. These are really important. Potatoes provide you extra mod space so you can put more mods on your frame. And forma give you polarities which make these mod spaces cost less when you put them in. Now I'm going to invest a forma for this video. I forgot I had multiple. There's actually multiple. Let me actually explain these. Aura forma will make your polarities on your aura mod on the top universal. It'll make it universal. So you could put any aura mod and it'll increase the amount of capacity you can have. Umbral forma, this is definitely very late game. You will not be getting this early game at all. You will not get this. This is definitely late game, and this is mainly meant for like once you get the Umbral Warframe, Excalibur Umbra, and you want to put his set of mods, the Umbral set, on different frames. So yeah, there's that. This is late game, so I won't really talk much, but this is the stuff you really want to focus on. And that's forma. And like if we do this, I'm just gonna give an example because I actually have to forma on my frame for a build I'm gonna do. This will provide a polarity slot for the frame. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna put this, and if we can see, this costs 14. We see this, it costs 14 polarity. But once we put this in, it brings the polarity down to 7, so meaning it increases the amount of space we can have. Now I am gonna farm to level him up because I definitely needed to forma that so I can increase the amount of space I can have for a certain build I want to try out, which requires another corrupted mod, but that's fine. But as we can see, I already talked about progression, and I already pretty much talked about the mod system and some of the weapons, how there's different variants. There's a lot I can cover on Warframe, and honestly, I might make a link, like an invite link, if you want to try it out, so you can get like a double affinity booster, so it makes it easier for you to grind for XP and stuff like that. Which there are sometimes double affinity weekends, like pretty much double XP weekends, double credit weekends, like for money, like right here. I should have actually talked about this. I'll just talk about it real quick. Credits are really just used for crafting weapons and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna say this, you'll definitely struggle early game with credits unless you can get a taxi to the index, which if you want, here's my username. If you just want to add me and you want to start Warframe, I can definitely help out if you want me to. if you're new to the game, I'll definitely try to guide you the best I can, and definitely try to help you out overall. Like, I can, like, I'm just gonna say this: people can taxi you to places to like level up like your items and stuff like that for grinding. And if you need help, I'll definitely be willing to do it. And I'll probably create, like I said, an invite link so you can get double Xfinity, like XP, for like 3 days once you like log into the game. Because it's better, I think it's better to start by someone inviting you instead of just downloading the game straight up so you can get like a bonus. Like that double XP thing so you can just rank up faster. Also, platinum's just a premium currency. I just want to say there's no pay to win feature. It's all of it is just meant to speed up stuff. That's all I'm just gonna say. All of it's to speed up, and all of it's just for cosmetics. Like as we can see, my character's decked out. I spent 1,000 plat on this, on like this stuff right here, and as we can see, he looks really good in my opinion. I just want to say this though, platinum, you can earn it for free. You can literally get it from trading. Like you can sell a lot of things to earn plat. Like I'll just show you an example real quickly. I do have these things called arcanes, but these are later games, so I won't really touch upon it. But I could sell these, like these are legendary rarity. These three right here are considered legendary rarity. But I can sell these 3 arcane energizes for 40 plat each. And I can easily get 120 plat from all, like just 3 of these. Now, I do have them maxed out, but I'm not going to sell these. But if you're curious to know, these 2 arcanes I currently have equipped on my Warframe, they're easily worth like 1,000 plat each. Which, when translated to real world money, I definitely say would be like around $50. I've only ever spent $10 in this game. That's because I got a 75% off coupon. But overall, I've been playing the game out like for free, and I got all these cosmetics pretty much for free. I didn't really spend any plat for like the armor piece you got right here, like I have my character has right now. I mainly got most of my platinum from trading, so you don't really need to invest money if you want to. You can just trade for it. It does take some time, but overall, it's nice. And like you can give platinum to other people if you're trying to buy stuff. Like for example, if you want to buy this Guandao Prime from someone, like a set off them, you can do that. And I'd recommend buying this as well because this weapon is extremely freaking powerful. It straight up sweeps everything. So yeah, that's about it, I'd say. I'm not really good at explaining stuff, and I will upload like a welcome to the channel type thing soon. I'm sorry it's been a long time since I made a video. It's just I've been taking a break from school and stuff like that, and I decided, you know what, now's the time to make the videos again. So thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, I might make another video soon. Or I just might make another gameplay video. Actually, no, I'll just probably make like a gameplay video just showing off the things and builds I currently have. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.